I don't like this.
Yeah, he's like, dude sucks. Human being a million sucks.
I liked the slacker. Oh, the other band guy. What's his name? The young guy.
Young Neil.
Young Neil. Okay, I suppose I was halfway there. I liked Young Neil.
Yeah, you would like Young Neil.
And I'm Sam, and my evil exes, Danny and Nick.
You know bread makes you fat, right?
Bread makes you fat? I could eat garlic bread all the time.
Just every day, somebody doing stuffing.
I could tie my shoe even though my other foot is naked. Do you guys notice that?
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll get to that.
Oh, man. Yeah, if you haven't figured it out. We're talking about Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. It just dropped a couple weeks ago. Oh, last week. A couple weeks ago by now. But by the time you hear this, a couple weeks ago. But it's on Netflix. And it is another going around of Scott Pilgrim's story and how he has to defeat 7 evil exes. 7 evil exes of Ramona Flowers in order to date Ramona. The girl of his dreams. The girl in his dreams, rather. And that's pretty exciting. There's a lot of Scott Pilgrim fans. A lot of people love Scott Pilgrim. I don't actually, to be honest with you, I don't know any of my nerdy friends who don't like it. I mean, it's whether they've just read the comic or just reading the movie or whatever, you know what I mean? So, yeah. I mean, if you don't like it, maybe you're kind of weird. I don't know. You might be a little weird, or you just have never seen it, or you think Michael Cera's corny, which I can kind of understand. That being said, let's just jump right into it, okay? Let's just go right into it. I'm going to tell you about this. And then, of course, links.animesummit.net is our link tree where you can find all the links to listen to our sister podcast, Anime Plummet, where to follow, where to subscribe, and also you can buy some merch right now. But I think the link is in there too, where our merch is. You can buy a shirt, buy a hoodie, some cool stuff on there. So that would be really appreciated. I would appreciate you very much. Take a selfie and show us on Discord or Twitter if you buy a shirt or a mug or whatever. That being said, let's just go right into question of the week. Nick.
All right, question of the week, and this is by Sen, and they ask, what do you think should have been a different genre? Example, Dorohedoro should have been a rom-com. What show do you think? Sorry, I didn't say that.
Yeah, what show do you think should have been a different genre? Oh, that's a good one.
Not like it was mislabeled, but like they should have just made it differently.
Yeah.
Grave of the Fireflies rom-com.
Oh,
I just always have to say that meme. Grave of the Fireflies magical girl show.
Man, that's a good question.
All right, Danny, you go. Sam's thinking. What do you got?
All the silence out. Yeah. Go ahead,
Okay.
Danny. Yeah, let me think.
Yeah, please cut the silence.
Yeah, let me think on that.
Just for funnies, Attack on Titan is a comedy.
It was already kind of funny, though. No, I'm just kidding. That's Japan's. I'm thinking Japan Sinks. That was a comedy.
Yeah, for you. For you, it's a comedy.
Well, Aaron didn't spoil Attack on Titan, as we saw in the Discord meme today.
Do you even get that meme, Nick?
No, I don't get
it. Yeah, like what I was going to say.
I'm sure that's a spoiler for the show, right? Like
it kind of is. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I actually that's a good one. What Danny said was, I think there's a part of me that, and I've discussed this with other friends before. There's a part of me that kind of wishes Attack on Titan was just a straight up human versus monster thing, shonen, and not this huge mystery
what's in the
drama.
basement?
So like, and I mean, after we figure out what's in the basement, it becomes this really kind of complex war political drama, which is still really cool. I still love Attack on Titan. I still like. I mean, I like how it ended, in my opinion. Whatever, but
we got to do that episode. When are we doing that episode?
Oh man, I don't even know. We got to figure it out. We got to talk it out how we're gonna do that. But
We'll get to it.
yeah, that's why we never talk.
Kai's
about
going to be on there. We'll force him.
Oh God, no. He'll be fine. He doesn't. He's just gonna be like, I don't understand the flesh mecha aspect. That's what he's gonna say. Not enough.
There's not enough glamour and grace. Sorry, I got to bring up that meme. All right, go ahead.
I'm just saying.
I'm derailing.
I'm saying there's a part of me that kind of wishes that it would have just been like there was no mystery. It was just they're just monsters and they're fighting to survive. And then the climax.
Oh yeah, like
of that,
like a zombie.
Yeah.
Or something.
The climax would have been them figuring out where the Titans came from. It turns out that they're just these monsters that invaded the Earth, and they finally are free of the walls, and they can all that stuff, right? Of course, from like the end of season 1 of it's like chapter 80 something or 60 something, that there's more to it than that, right? It's revealed pretty early that there's way more to it. So it was planned, you know what I mean? But that being said,
I think your version would have been kind of boring though, right? Because
oh yeah, no, definitely, yeah, definitely.
I
but
get.
like,
Well, you could have done it as like a OVA series, just like
it would have just not been as long.
balls to the wall survival, you know.
It would have just not been as long, yeah, and it would have been more shonen-y, would have been more action-y, obviously. Obviously, there still would be some just
twists like
and shit,
pure
but
desperation, just like Berserk Eclipse, but for 12 episodes.
yeah, something like that.
That'd be kind of fun to watch that actually.
Yeah, I don't know. It would have been cool to see that. You know, maybe it was just like a, you know, because when we did figure out what was what, I remember the first time we figured it out, I was like, oh holy shit! And then they went in the basement, and it was like, holy fuck, what? And then it was a bunch of hooliganism. It was crazy. Anyways, you guys go.
I got one. Okay, Legend of the Galactic Heroes as a cute girl doing cute thing show. You just have a bunch of waifus.
Oh my God.
And I don't know. I don't know how exactly it would go. It would pretty much be the same show, but you'd have cute girls in it. It'd be like Bodacious Space Pirates, but a million times better. That's what it would be. And it would be by Kyoto Animation, and you'd have like, yeah, they did Nichijou, right? It would be animated like that. Like way fucking over the top. And you'd have like little lolly girls like saluting right as their ship blows up. That'd be sweet.
So it's girls in Panzer, but in space. And and actual war, not fake war, like play war. Yeah,
yeah, real war. Like they really die.
No, they actually die though.
And there's philosophizing.
Okay, so Danny, you still gave your answer.
There wouldn't be any Earth cult though. The Earth cult sucked.
Or do you have a different answer than the Attack on Titan answer you gave?
I'll stick with Attack on Titan.
Okay, all right. Waifu and husbando, Danny, what do you got?
Waifu is the one and only Ramona Flowers, and I don't agree with this pick because he sucks. Scott Pilgrim. I think Wallace Wells is better.
No, but you got to pick Scott because they're the couple, though. Also, Scott learns.
But Scott is
Scott
like
learns.
in the whole thing for like 3 times.
He's the pathetic man meme, Danny.
He sucks.
All right. He grows throughout the series. He's shitty.
He sucks.
But he gets better.
He sucks.
He's cringe, but he gets
sucks.
better. Yeah, he's not your type, Danny. We get it. Okay, you like him a little burlier.
Lame. His roommate is better.
You like him
actually,
like
Wallace is kind of a bitch too, though. I mean,
yeah, but he's funny.
At least he's funny.
You like the Lucas Lee types, Danny. I get it. I got you. All right.
Yeah, dude. Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. This came out on Netflix November 17th, 2023. Studio Science Saru, directed by Abel Gongora, and written by Bryan Lee O'Malley. He actually did the script along with Ben David Grabinski for this anime, which is great because we get to see another way that Bryan would have written it. Based on the graphic novel series Scott Pilgrim by Bryan Lee O'Malley. So, and I guess you could say based on the movie directed by Edgar Wright as well, which is Scott Pilgrim Bridges the World. Yeah, dude. Basically the premise of and this is not really a spoiler because it's literally episode 1, right? It's how it starts. The premise of Scott Pilgrim Takes Off is the first episode is literally just the first book. It's the first act of the movie. It's the first book of the series, the comics. Everything goes exactly how you see it. Scott meets Ramona. He invites her to go see the band at the Rocket. His band, Sex Bombs, at the Rocket, because he's part of a little indie band in Toronto, Canada. And Matthew Patel, the first Evil X, Ramona's first Evil X, comes down and says, you got to fight all the League of X's, where Ramona's exes. You got to fight us to date Ramona. And the first punch that Scott goes for, he disappears. Matthew Patel wins. And it's a completely different story. I was not expecting it. I was like, okay. And then, so basically the series is about Ramona investigating his disappearance and, going through all of her exes, talking to all of Scott's friends and his exes, and it's crazy. That's the premise of the anime. It's a completely different story. People are arguing online of whether it runs alongside the comic, whether it runs after the movie, and something I discovered just
How
at
can people
first.
even argue with that? That's ridiculous.
I know there were people
Danny,
arguing.
this is the internet, Danny. Come on, you can't
Yeah.
be surprised.
Yeah, Danny, people aren't chill like us. Like they just they live on the internet and they argue. You know
I'm
what I
not
mean?
chill either. All right.
Well, Nick isn't
Don't lump
either,
me
but I
in,
mean,
all
he
right?
just-
I'm one of the disgusting lowlifes.
He just
okay?
responds with memes though. That's why Nick can take it. You know what I mean? But in my opinion,
But the TV show was like a mixture of the comic and movie a little bit, right? And then they added their own flair to it too, or something.
I mean, there's things about in my opinion, okay, here's my first thoughts, but let's give first thoughts right here. My first thought is this.
First question, actually, do you need to read the comics to watch this show?
That's what I was going to say.
Okay.
So I believe this anime is a sequel or a alternate quel. But it kind of requires you to have an understanding of knowledge or of some of the comic and pretty much most of the movie, because the movie is a very tightened, consumable version of the comics, and the comics are more in depth with its themes of how, Scott being a toxic person and how Ramon is a toxic person, and they kind of deserve each other, and their love is based on growth.
Yeah, they're both toxic, by the way, Danny. Ramona is definitely toxic.
I am well aware of this. Okay.
Okay. So why was it okay for her to be the waifu? All right.
Because
Niggas
Ramon
going
is
on.
more likable.
I don't know.
Anyways, yeah, this is like
In the TV show, she is.
in this instance, I would say it's like an alternate timeline sequel, or a sequel rather, and it kind of does require you to have knowledge of the other two mediums. That being said, I'm like the average Scott Pilgrim fan. The first time I heard of it was I saw the trailer on the internet, and I went to go see it in the theater with Mario and whoever else, and it was great. I loved it. It was amazing. And then I went back.
Should have brought Mario to the podcast.
Well, he's not a big fan of Scott Pilgrim.
He doesn't like Scott Pilgrim.
He likes the movie, but he doesn't care about it enough to you know what I mean?
Oh, interesting. Okay, I thought that would be like right up his alley. This is such a Sam/Mario thing.
I think as a film he loved it, but I don't think he would. I don't think he cares much about the comics or the anime, to be honest with you. But I don't know if he's gonna watch the anime. I showed him the trailer, but he was like, "I'm Mario." He's busy. He's busy doing Mario things. But yeah, no. I mean, I went back and read the comics. I don't know, a couple months after, because I obviously they printed more volumes of them. And then a couple years later, they started making the colored versions where he redrew some of the panels and colored it. And yeah, I read those. I read the colored ones after. So I am probably just like the average Scott Pilgrim fan. I love it a lot. I love the themes a lot. I love the comics more. But because I love the comics more, I think I appreciated this more. But what is your guys? I want to say this too. we made Nick watch the movie beforehand because he had not.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Yeah, he had not
Also,
consumed any Scott Pilgrim before this.
I will mention that Scott Pilgrim was not a box office hit.
It was
at
not
the time. I'm sure it made a bunch of money down, in the long run, maybe.
But at the time,
Actually,
dude,
maybe not. I should look up the data for that.
No. Honestly, dude,
It didn't make a lot at the box office.
It
kinda
did really
flopped,
bad. Yeah, and a lot of people were.
which is weird.
And I want to get Danny's first thought here.
But budget was between 60 to 85 million. Box office, it made 49.3 million.
Yeah, you have to basically double your budget in order to break even with movies
Yeah,
because of marketing and stuff like that. So
I want to get
at
Danny's
least double the budget.
I want to get Danny's first thought on the anime here in a sec, but I want to just mention this really quick. Because Nick, when we get your first thought, I want you to talk about the movie for a second. But I just want to mention, the movie it came out at a weird time, and it came out at a time where people were kind of already sick of Michael Cera being that guy who gets the girl next door.
He was doing his run, right? He was in Superbad.
There's Juno, Paper Hearts, and Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. It's
That
like, okay,
one, I
we've
love
seen
that one. That one's my favorite.
We've seen Michael Cera 5 times getting the girl next door. We don't need to see it again. And the Scott Pilgrim had came out at the time.
Well, what else came out in 2010? Let's see. Best movies.
I believe Kick-Ass came out a little bit before that. All the gritty movies were gritty comic movies were coming out, and this was just like, I don't know. I mean, listen, I'm a big fan of Edgar.
See what even came out that year. I'm not seeing a lot. Despicable Me. There you go.
Look, I'm a big fan of Edgar Wright. Okay, but
and did he do Shaun of the Dead? Is that the guy?
Yes, he did. He did Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz.
And Hot Fuzz.
That's what I thought. Okay.
And then he also did Ant-Man, later, in 2014, and Baby Driver and a bunch of other stuff. But like,
Alice in Wonderland came out in 2010.
One of many.
Yeah.
Oh, The Social Network. Was he in that? No, that was the other guy. There's the guy that kind of looks a little bit like him. That's a different guy.
No, it's a different guy. He has cameos in movies. He was a zombie in Land of the Dead. He was a zombie in Shaun of the Dead, or a newscaster in Shaun of the Dead. And he was in
Barbie. No, that's today. But
he was in The Last Jedi as a resistance soldier. Just little things.
Okay, that doesn't
matter. But like, anyways,
you're talking about back then. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Edgar Wright. I love the movie. Okay, but like, the movie just did bad. The timing was bad, and people were sick of seeing Michael Cera. Those are the biggest things. I mean, I've had this convo millions of times, just because
Marvel was starting to kick off. They hadn't had the Avengers movie yet, though, and that really kicked it off, I think.
Yeah. So
I saw that one.
It kind of fell to the wayside because of multiple reasons, Michael Cera and the timing being one of them. I think people thought it would do really good because, it's another comic movie. Let's get into another comic. But anyways, so Danny, before we get Nick's first thoughts, because I want him to quickly talk about what he felt about the movie. Also, let's get your first thoughts on the anime. What did you think? You've seen the movie, obviously, too.
The Expendables came out that year, and the other guys, too.
The other guys was fun.
And it came out in August, which is not a big month, apparently.
Anyways.
Sorry.
Danny, go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, the marketing wasn't great. All right.
Anyway. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I am a huge fan of the movie. I've seen the movie like a dozen times. It's so great. The music is great. I have not finished the comic. I've only read like a little bit of until volume 2. So I don't know exactly what is different or what I should know from the anime, but at least
the game
for my knowledge of watching the movie, it is crucially important to at least have knowledge between either the comic book or the movie, because especially in the anime, they do like briefly talk about the movie because there's a screenplay of Scott Pilgrim versus the World in it. So you do need at least some sort of knowledge on what Scott Pilgrim versus the World is about. But yeah, no, it took me a while to figure out like this is like a what if kind of situation. So because like that first episode was just, especially that ending, I was just like, did they just do the thing that I think they did? And how is this gonna go after with like the main character gone?
Yeah,
So-
it wasn't even really a fight. I mean, he did the block thing and the punch.
Yeah,
And then-
yeah,
And then we're like, okay, that's the iconic shot right there, right? And then
yeah. And then poof,
yeah,
he's
poof,
gone.
he's gone.
And then there's like money on the ground. So it's
Ooh,
just
coins.
like- yeah, so this was awesome. I loved it. Even watching it a second time, because like I absolutely love the music in this. From the actual songs that they use in like, especially the ending credit songs that they have
Oh,
used.
shout out to Bubblegum Crisis.
yeah, every ending theme is
So-
different. Yeah.
Yeah, but also, you know, the music that is actually in it.
Yeah, the music composed for the soundtrack.
Yeah, who Joseph
Anamanaguchi. And Joseph
Anna
Trapanese.
Managuchi. Yes, both of them, like, fantastic job. Like it's super nostalgic. It has that like 8-bit, you know, video game like sounds in there and everything, the ominous sounds, just everything. Like I just loved everything about it, and
Mhm.
I honestly could watch it forever.
Yeah, and we'll get more into some of the music and sounds later because I think that are important, the way they laced them in the show.
Mhm.
And also it's important to note that Anamanaguchi did the whole soundtrack for the video game, which is another alternate version of the story. So, which is, I mean, it's still closer to the comics and movie. But anyways, so I want to hear Nick's first thought. You got like, I don't know, take however much time you need, obviously, but like, obviously, because we wanted you to have a basic understanding of
Yeah.
what Scott Pilgrim was originally, and then
Well, I kind of knew what it was. I mean,
right, it's been around for
it's
a
like
while.
a
yeah.
video gamey goth punk show or movie. Well, the movie, I don't know if it's really goth, but it feels very rock and roll.
It's more alternative
the right way to-
than
Yeah,
than
I don't know.
goth.
Because punk has a specific definition. I'm probably not using it right, but it feels a little bit like
Again,
that.
it's like alternative punk.
Yeah, and the
It's
original
like indie rock
graphic
concert.
novel was in what 2004 came out, something like that. When was that? When did that come out?
Yeah, it's old. Let me find it. Sorry, I had it. The first one came out 2007. The last one came out in 2000. No, sorry. First one came out 2004. Last one came out 2010. So it took them 6 years to complete it.
And you could tell it feels like a 2000s story. It just has that. I would say like it does have kind of a gothy feel a little bit. Even I mean Ramona kind of reminds me of that, but she's a manic pixie dream girl in the movie, right?
Yeah.
In the show, she's not really, other than just dyeing her hair a lot. And my favorite was like somebody posted a meme of, it was in our Discord of Scott combing her hair after she just ruined it, and it was making this like scratching sound. And her hair was like sloughing off because like she keeps dyeing it too often. But that's like her character trait. Well, one of them is she likes to do that. But so I didn't watch this at the time because I was just doing other stuff that year. I didn't really watch any movies that year, I don't think. And it's like a very niche audience. Like older people are not gonna get this movie. I think that's why it bombed. Like it doesn't have appeal for anybody older than those characters, in my opinion.
No, it's very millennial. It's very
Yeah,
it's-
you have to. If Gen X would not, I don't think they would like this very much. Maybe a few of them. Boomers definitely would not watch this.
No,
They wouldn't get this at all, and that's fine. That's not
it's
made
very
for them.
it's
That's
very
fine.
Gen X and millennial. Like
So that's
it's
probably
for
why it bombed.
Those people, yeah.
Yeah, this is like the millennial movie, pretty much. It probably is like the archetypal millennial movie. It's one of them anyway. Actually, Superbad is also starring Michael Cera. So I know you guys fucking hate on him, but he was in one of the best comedies ever.
No, I
so.
don't hate it. I like Michael Cera a lot. I think he's great.
Danny hates on him. All right.
are you talking about? I
She
don't.
hates Scott Pilgrim.
I
Oh, you
don't
hate
like
Scott
the
Pilgrim.
character.
All right,
I never
fine,
said
fine.
anything about Michael Cera. Get the fuck out of
Anyway,
here. Don't
yeah.
put words into my mouth.
Oh, I hate Michael Cera. Oh, all right, I'm done. Okay. So I didn't watch it because like I was doing other stuff, and I just didn't feel like watching it at the time. And then like the marketing was kind of weird. I didn't like the idea because at the time I was like 20, and it was like, oh, I don't need this right now. I don't need this kind of story at this exact moment, you know. And I skipped it then. So then I didn't get back to it. This is definitely a very Sam and probably Danny type of story. I like it too, actually. I like the idea of like just a bunch of losers who are in a band. Just kind of, you know, what do you call it? Just shambling through life very crappily. That's my bad description of it. But yeah, like the video game anime references were fun. Like I watched the original movie. I didn't even realize, like, I know that what's her name? Brie Larson is in it as his Scott's ex-girlfriend. She didn't look anything like Brie Larson though. I keep seeing her with like, anyway, she looks different now. But
So a lot of the actors who are in the movie, like
she's like the
that,
same age as me.
that was like they were babies in Hollywood. You know, like Audrey Plaza is in that, and she came from
Aubrey.
what did I say? Did I say Audrey?
Aubrey.
You said Audrey Hepburn. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't say
she
Audrey
said-
Hepburn.
No,
I
she
said,
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just the odd guy.
Actually, you did say that, Danny. We're gonna gaslight you.
No, yeah.
get out of here. I
Yeah,
said
Aubrey Plaza, yeah.
Audrey
she wasn't
Plaza,
even in,
she wasn't really doing, this was like even before Parks and Rec. She was doing more internet like skit stuff.
Yeah, Funny or Die.
So-
She was in a bunch of other.
Yeah.
She's kind of
and
friends with
then-
the group of friends that are like Judd Apatow people, you know? Like she's kind of like did stuff with them and stuff.
Yeah. She did a
Yeah.
bunch of early stuff. This was before Parks and Rec.
Mhm.
That's what I said.
Before she got really big.
Literally, I just said that.
Sorry, I was scrolling through a bunch of stuff. I am the same age as Brie Larson, and I just got to point that out. So basically, we're soulmates. There you go.
Oh my God.
Actually, it would not work out because she's way too like nervous, and so am I. That would just be that would crash and burn. All right. Also, I need a couple more commas in my bank account for that.
Oh,
But anyway,
jeez.
what are we doing here? So the movie I didn't watch right at the time. I watched it this weekend. I liked it. It was very stylish. Edgar Wright. I like most of his stuff really. Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz. I haven't seen a lot of other stuff, but I really like those movies. So I liked this too. The what do you call it? It just had. I had a word for it. It had like this, like amalgamation of different. They had like sound effects and like video game animations like on the screen in a live action movie, which I like. It was kind of like Speed Racer. This movie is a little bit similar to Speed Racer because they go all out. You know, they're not gonna dumb it down and smooth it down. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I like the movie. Great movie. I didn't watch it at the time, so I don't have the nostalgia that you guys do, and I haven't seen it a bunch of times, but I get why it's a cult classic. So then I went in and watched the cartoon on Netflix, and it was I enjoyed it more than I thought I would actually. Oh, I'm just seeing an Evangelion reference right now too. Yeah, they had when what's his name? Lucas Lee is skateboarding. There's like a giant head in the background.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they do a bunch of references. Is this Alien? What's chasing him? Anyway, is this Jurassic Park? I don't know. This is actually one of my favorite parts.
Focus, Nick.
It's just skateboarding. But yeah, the show is fun. I saw some discussion online where people are like hating on how it did a bait and switch kind of, where you thought it was going to be about Scott Pilgrim, but it was actually about Ramona. And I watched it, and then I watched some of those reactions, and like actually most people have kind of agreed, other than like some of the troll YouTuber commenters. It's like it was probably the right choice to make it the way they did, to focus on Ramona, because in the movie he's kind of fighting for her. She's kind of using him to fight her battles. But in the show, she has to fight her own battles and like do all that. So I don't get too deep into all that, but I didn't think it was that bad of a bait and switch. Maybe they could have marketed it slightly different, but I mean, it's on Netflix. It's really popular, so it's not like people are not watching it.
Right.
But yeah, I like the show. I don't want to go too far in right now.
Right. And so we'll get into some of the story and stuff later. But I do want to kind of go back to Danny gushing about the music because listen.
I had that bubblegum sound on repeat.
The music is very important, okay? Because so obviously one of the big things about Scott Pilgrim is that he's in a band called Sex Bomb, okay? He was also before that he was also in a band called Sonic and Knuckles. And then so with Steven Stills and Kim Pine, who's also one of his exes, by the way, the drummer, he's in this band called Sex Bomb. And so when you're reading the comic, you just have to kind of just imagine, you know what I mean? He gives notes in the comic, of what, it should sound like. And the movie, they did it perfectly. So like Beck was basically Sex Bomb. And then the band Metric was basically the Clash at Demon Head, which is Envy's band and Todd Ingram's band. Which is really funny because they used Metric to be her band and voice in this, in the anime as well. And Plumtree also did some of the other music as well. They're huge. So a lot of what you guys were saying earlier about there being like punk rock, alternative, and indie rock is like that's very much the setting, and very much the kind of the scene that you're in when you are watching the movie and reading the book, and it's just a really great soundtrack. Okay, when you're playing the video game, which is a side-scroll beat 'em up, by the way. When you're playing the video game, the whole soundtrack is done by. Yeah, it's really fun. It's especially if you get on it with your friends. The soundtrack is done by Anamanaguchi, and Anamanaguchi's probably one of my favorite bands ever. They did the soundtrack to or not soundtrack, but they did some songs for another game too, and I can't remember which one I'm thinking of right now. But they did the whole soundtrack to the game, and also the game was also the art and the pixel art and pixel sprites were done in part by Paul Robertson, who's another one of my favorite artists, by the way. He's a great artist. And they used some of the music from the game by Anamanaguchi in the anime as well, which is fucking dope. Some of the X boss themes are at the end. And then also they did some of the score for the anime. And so seeing in the anime, they kind of blend all of that together, which is really fucking cool. So like, and also this was a chance for Anamanaguchi to kind of just write some non-chiptune music, which they did for Sex Bomb in the beginning earlier before we started recording. I was like, Danny, who's the band that did, or who's the artist that did the fucking Sex Bomb song in the beginning? She was like, oh, it was Anamanaguchi. I was like, oh shit, that was them? Holy fuck. And it was kind of a chance for them to kind of do something outside of what they normally do. And it sounds super cool. I really like that. So, but yeah, the music the anime kind of takes what they've already established in the game and in the movie and kind of puts them together along with other bands that fit the characters, because in the anime you're exploring each of the characters more, which is cool, and they each kind of have their own kind of style of thing going on, right? So like at the beginning of you could say the beginning of Lucas Lee's episode, quote unquote, they played United States of Whatever by Liam Lynch, which is like one of the greatest like punk rock songs ever. It's just a wild song. It's just this guy talking and yelling, and he's skating around all of Hollywood being a jerk, breaking everything. And it's perfect. There's also the Dead Kennedys. And then I thought it was funny that Scott's, I won't say the spoiler till later, but like Scott's in another band at one point with two other people, and they call it Poppin' Twin B, which is a combination of Twinbee and Poppin' Music, which are 2 video games. Hilarious. 2 very old school like anime puzzle video games. Super funny, super cool. It's like little things like that and that's what makes the movie and comics so great. It's the way that little things are inserted throughout. I don't know. They do it with the music too, and it's just really good. So I'm a fan of most of these bands and artists. And Tegan and Sarah, like, you know what I mean? It's perfect. I can't even. So good. It's too good. If I talk anymore, we'll be here for another like 2 hours, 3 hours. So I don't want to talk anymore about the music. At least not me personally. I do want to hear, of course, what Danny has to say, because some of these bands I'm sure she's a fan of as well. But yeah, Anna Monoguchi, dude, go listen to all their music right now. Seriously. Do it. Do it. Do it.
What are you, Shia LaBeouf?
No, I'm the fucking guy from Starsky and Hutch. The undercover guy. Do it. Bacardi Cola. Do it. Do it, sweetheart. Give us a kiss. I'm Ray Finkel. Finkel Industries. Give us a kiss.
Oh my God.
Do it. Do it. Vampire Weekend. Do it. Do it.
Talk about freaking perfect song to plug in Vampire Weekend.
Yeah.
The bonding of Lucas and Gideon.
Yeah. So good. It's so fucking funny, dude. It's a great soundtrack. This is full of insert songs like that. You know what I mean? So this guy's fucking wet dream. That's probably why he thought it was anime of the year.
I don't.
He watched it. He was like, anime of the year.
I mean, I'm kind of with him on that. Not gonna lie.
Oh.
So
What makes you say that?
I really, really liked this.
It's not on my anime list, so it's not anime of the year, Danny.
It's on Annie list, bitch.
My anime list gets worse and worse.
That's why
Oh,
Annie list
God.
sounds more and more appealing. Yeah, I just like, I mean, if we want to revert back to like story, and not talk about the music really, because I mean, honestly, you said it perfectly. Like the soundtrack and the composition and the score is really what makes the show. So, but I kind of want to like talk about like our favorite scenes and even like some of our favorite fights, like because there are fights that do happen in the show too. So
Oh yeah, the fights are a big part of it. Like that's the whole thing. Like one thing they don't mention in the movie that they mention in the comic and in the anime, thank God, is they never explain why everyone knows how to fight. They don't have to. They just that's not important. It's kind of like Speed Racer, like how I said this. It doesn't matter. But they do mention that Scott Pilgrim is one of like the best fighters in northern Canada or whatever it is.
mm-hmm.
So like that's I thought that was cool that they remembered to include that. But like yeah, it's like fighting is a huge thing. You gotta want something done. You gotta fight. Like that's just how it is. Like you got troll hands. But yeah, I mean, I gotta let me think about that for a second because some.
Well,
of them
I got some.
cool.
I wrote down like the 3 best fights for me, at least, not counting like the finale and stuff.
Sure.
Because I mean the finale fight was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
So, but my one first fight that I really liked was Patel versus Gideon.
Oh yeah, that was really good.
That fight was just amazing. I thought it was pretty clever, especially you know, after Matthew defeated Scott, and you know, he's all like, "I won," and he's all like, "Yeah, I won," and he's all like, "All right, Ramona, let's get back together," and she's like, "What are you talking about?" Like, he's like, I defeated Scott. We're gonna get back together," and she's like, "Dude, no, we're not," and she like just walks out.
She just leaves.
So he's like, "It was in the league. It was that's part of the rules. That was the rules of the league." And then he realizes that, you know,
Your toe was over the line. It's a foul.
that literally wasn't the rules. Like Gideon was just selfish and was just like, I'm just using, the 6 of you exes so that I can get Ramona back.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Gideon was like the most toxic ex. Well, in the movie he was too. But
Yeah, in the movie it was.
Yeah.
he was a short king though, so I gotta stand by him.
Jason Schwartzman.
dude,
Okay.
Jason
Short king.
Schwartzman.
Let's go.
Love him. Just love him as an actor in general. Like
Yeah.
he's so great. He's so great. And the fact that he voices Gideon Graves is just amazing. Like, and I loved him in this. Like, it was just great. I loved it. But yeah, like that fight between the two of them and stuff. I really felt that was like a good start to like kind of switch things up, and the fact that Matthew defeats Gideon and like and Gideon becomes like this washed up has-been and stuff. I thought that was like genius, and I'm just like, so what's gonna happen to Gideon now? Like I really want to know where Gideon is gonna be headed in the future. So yeah, absolutely, like loved that fight. My second favorite fight is Roxy versus Ramona.
Mm-hmm.
That whole fight when they're fighting in the video store, and then all of a sudden like they like break like the fifth wall, and they just get transported into the movie and stuff,
because they're fighting at the video store that Kim works at.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah,
and like one of the shelves like falls on top of them, and all of a sudden they're in a black and white film, and then all of a sudden they're in like a kung fu film and stuff. Yeah, that whole thing. And also, but that to me, that fight is so important, because that fight is really when Ramona starts realizing that she is also a toxic person, because anytime she goes into these relationships, she just ran away. Like she didn't like confront them and stuff. And Roxy was
she's like Shinji. She didn't get in the robot.
Roxy was like a really important piece to the puzzle for Ramona to realize, like, because Ramona, apologized to Roxy and was like, I'm sorry that, I ran away and that I didn't talk to you and stuff. So because
that was episode 2, their fight.
3.
Say it again.
Wasn't that episode 2?
No, that was episode 3. That was episode 3.
No, that was episode 2. Okay.
No, it was episode 3.
Episode 2
I have it written down. It is
Okay.
episode 3.
Okay.
So,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
You're right. A League of Their Own was episode 2. Okay, never mind.
yeah.
Which, by the way, great movie. There's no crying in baseball.
Anyway.
And your third favorite fight, Danny? God.
Third favorite fight is Lucas Lee versus the paparazzi.
Yeah, the ninja Razzi.
The
Yeah, I like that
ninja
one, yeah.
Razzies.
He's skateboarding to the Tony Hawk music.
Yeah, like amazing. Absolutely loved that. Yeah, those are my top favorite fights for sure. I mean, I loved all of them, but I definitely like, out of all of the fights that I've seen, those are my favorite.
Say your first one again.
Matthew Patel versus Gideon.
Oh, that was early on too, wasn't it?
That was in episode 2. That was like
That's right. That was episode 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the ending fight too. I don't want to spoil what happens, but I like that too. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, these are my best fights, not counting the finale fight, because the finale fight was just amazing in its own.
Also, are we going to talk about how Nick called Dead Kennedys Tony Hawk music?
Oh,
It's Tony Hawk
God.
music. So come on.
Because it's was good,
What
man.
a-
Because it was in the first
what a-
Tony Hawk
You
Pro
know what I'm
Skater.
talking about.
Yeah, it was in the first Pro Skater game. Yeah, I get.
Nobody
I know.
knows Dead Kennedys. Everybody knows Tony Hawk. Come on.
Dead Kennedys. Yeah,
Actually,
dude,
probably a lot of people know it. But.
So I mean, without Danny got a little bit into the story a little bit, but like before we moved, but they're like the fights were really cool. I kind of feel like I feel very strongly about how fights are in anime. I've said this before many times on this podcast. One of the things that I mention often is Dragon Ball, like Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z, right? Where Dragon Ball had like actual like choreographed fights in it, whereas Dragon Ball Z just had them smashing and dashing and then doing the ha 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 where you can't see it, you know? And so I always just really love seeing that. And that sucks because like that should be the standard, but it's not, you know what I mean? With a lot of anime lately. So I really did love the video store fights with Ramona and Roxy.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
in the comic,
Yeah, that was a good episode.
in the comic, part of it happens in the coffee shop, and it, like Danny points out, that is like the first time where Ramona realizes, oh yeah, holy crap, like why did I do that to you? Especially when it was at a time where you were
Vulnerable.
feeling sexually vulnerable in your you were feeling vulnerable in your sexuality at the time, and which was really, they don't mention in the anime too much, but yeah, no, super cool. And Roxy's a really cool character, and I think that's kind of why the show is cool, because like the big theme of the comics, well, pretty much all of it, is that it's the Scott and Ramona are toxic, and the exes became toxic because of it. And actually in the comic, the characters, the exes in the comic are way cooler, except for Gideon. Gideon's a douche still, but like the exes in the comic are actually just, they were cool, normal people doing their own thing. And like half of them don't even like care. Like half of them were just kind of like, oh yeah, well, I mean, Gideon promised that, like, you know, if I did this evil X thing, then, you know, whatever, you know?
Yeah. I feel like definitely, I mean, in the anime, like with Lucas Lee, for example, Lucas Lee, you know, when he was talking to Ramona, because like it was when you know, literally right after he fought the paparazzi, and Ramona comes skating in and is all like, so do you want me to help you now? And he's all like, what do you mean? Like, you never helped me, blah, blah, like, and then she's like, yeah, I helped you. He's all like, no, like, you freaking, again, she ran away. And that's kind of like where like his heart got broken, and, you know, she left him with a broken heart and a broken skateboard. And that's kind of like how, you know, his acting career kind of took off. And so like, and that's where like Lucas was all like, you know, so even though you broke my heart, like in reality, I should thank you, because like you're the reason that I was like able to be like this famous actor. So yeah,
Well,
I feel like
and-
Lucas is definitely one who just doesn't care about the league. He just did it because
He just did it just
Gideon-
because, yeah.
Yeah.
And in the comic, it's the same. In the comic, like he even has like a coffee and a cigarette before he beats the shit out of Scott, which is really funny. They're just chilling there. It's like, oh, well, what are you doing? It's like, oh, I don't know. What are you doing, man? Just, well, I'm supposed to fight you. It's like, oh, okay, let's have a cigarette real quick. And it's really funny. It's a really funny scene. But like, I think that's why what I like about the show, the anime, is that it kind of explores those themes with other characters. And like, because in the movie and in the comics, the movie's a more consumable version, right? So the evil exes are evil and that's it. But like in the comics, some of these characters are really cool. You know what I mean? And the characters are so dynamic that you kind of wanted to know more about them. And the
Right.
anime gave us
I feel like,
that.
yeah, this definitely gives you more in depth on what the other exes are like. And
What they-
also like the other characters as well, like especially MV Adams and Kim Pine. So Yeah, like
yeah,
and I mean Julie as well. Like you see a lot of Julie
yeah.
in this.
Oh,
And-
apparently there's a character named Lisa.
Yeah, Lisa was Scott's first like girlfriend ever, kind of. She's the earliest. And so she was gonna start a band with him, but then they were like, oh, let's get Kim as a drummer, and then he kind of fell in love with Kim. It's this whole thing. You can actually there's a Flash animation shorts on YouTube that you can watch, also on the DVD and Blu-ray, called Scott Pilgrim versus the Animation, that tells the story of how he rescued Kim from this other rival school and some bullshit, which is important in the comics, which I won't spoil that part. But Kim and Envy's story and Lisa's story gets more fleshed out in the comics. And so why they decided to exclude Lisa, I don't think it's really important. I care more about the themes of like how the past relationships that Scott and Ramona had to deal with were toxic because they were toxic, right? Like Scott and Ramona were, and how it affects the people around them currently, right? And it did. It affected, and it could have. Every of the exes has a story, right? And so they each got told a little bit more here than they did, like in the comic or in the movie, right? And I think that's why I think it was I think the themes are a little more the themes are more fleshed out and explored here, and just from different points of views, and I think that's really cool. Because in the comic, obviously, it's like about Scott and Ramona, right? But
Yeah.
And they do flesh them out a little bit in the comic, but in here, it's like we got to see different sides of the characters. Like, okay, we don't have to hate them because they're not villains anymore, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm getting into spoiler territory now a little bit, but like, I guess from here on out, you guys will be like the spoilers. We're going to spoil. So, that being said, and so it's kind of hard to ask Nick questions, right? Because like, obviously, like I've consumed all of the mediums, right? And so like, Danny hasn't finished the comics, I guess. Or did you finish the game too, or no?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
It's a beat 'em up, and it's
really hard. It's super hard if you don't. Yeah.
Like the first time I played it with my boyfriend at the time, and who introduced me to the game because he had it on his PlayStation, and we played it together, and it was super fun. We didn't get very far in it, and and then like he told, like I was gonna get it for myself, but then he told me that it's not available for purchase. So then
there was a whole thing. Yeah,
it was a big thing. And then once it finally got re-released, I definitely got my hands on it, especially on the Switch. So
yeah. I got the limited run physical copy along with the record.
I would love to play it with you, and we can stream it maybe.
Yeah, no, we definitely should.
Fun.
For those of you who are stuck in the game, by the way, just keep going to the stores. Anytime you find a store, keep going into it and buy everything. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, like it's hard to ask Nick. I guess Nick, how did you enjoy it as a
new fan,
as an anime by itself? I guess, right? Because obviously you're a fan of Science Saru and stuff like that, and and as a new fan, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, I really liked it. That's probably one of the better Netflix
anime
cartoons.
that we watched.
Yeah,
Netflix produced anime that we've seen.
Yeah. Let's see. The thing is, I didn't have the previous connection like you guys did, so it's like a period piece almost.
The movie is 13 years old, and the comic is almost 20-some years old. So it's like,
but really, the movie taking place in like 2004 or like in that time period though? No, maybe a little after that.
I think a little bit before. Yeah, because the movie takes place
maybe a few years before 2010. It's not actually taking place.
No,
maybe it does.
No.
I don't know, but
yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. I'm just a big fan of the style of it. Like I just like how like I said before, I like how they go all out and they make it interesting. It's not just like medium shots, like boring, typical anime, budget stuff. Like this was, you could tell they had a lot of passion for this project. And every character, I like that the X's were more fleshed out in the TV show. Although in the movie it works well in its own way, but it's nice to see more of them. Like Patel gets way more time, obviously. He's kind of like one of the main bad guys.
Mhm.
But then at the end of the day, he begs Gideon to. Is it him? No, who's the guy who owns Gideon's company? Yeah, he owns Gideon's company at the end, right?
Yeah, from episode 2. Yeah, yep, he owns it.
And he's like, "No, take it back. I don't like this."
Yeah, he's like, "Dude, this sucks." Even being a millionaire sucks.
I liked the slacker. Oh, the other band guy. What's his name? The young guy.
Young Neil.
Young Neil. Okay, I suppose I was halfway there. I liked young Neil.
Yeah, and then,
You would
he's
like young Neil.
He's like, I woke up and there's a script written down.
I wrote it.
This is how writers actually write. Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
George R. Martin, fucking take a note. Just fall asleep and you'll have your book done. But yeah, I liked most of these characters. Knives was interesting because she became like really good in the band, whereas in the movie she was more like starry-eyed for Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
It's kind of the typical anime thing where like some loser guy gets all these girls. But I guess to be fair, none of the girls were big winners either. So they were all kind of just like bums. But because Scott doesn't even have a job in the movie.
No.
He's the pathetic man trope. You gotta protect him. That's the thing, I guess. But so one thing that the show missed was the vegan police. I liked that.
Oh yeah, the vegan
that
police.
was funny.
Milk
Those
and eggs,
two-
bitch.
Yeah. Those
Chicken
two guys,
isn't vegan.
those two guys in the movie, the vegan police, they didn't get credited for the movie, but they didn't care because they were only in it for that part, right? But like, one of them is the guy who plays in the first Punisher movie. Yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he plays the Punisher. Smoking eggs, bitch. Yeah, dude, it's so fucking funny. Which is the thing that happens in the comics too. But like, it happens in the game also. It's how you're able to punch Todd because you can't like really hurt him right away. Which is hilarious.
He has vegan powers. He eats a piece of broccoli like Mob Psycho.
Yeah, broccoli, dude.
He's literally Mob Psycho.
He's literally just eats broccoli and celery, and that's it. He's done. Yeah, dude. I and that's cool to hear because I mean, obviously, I feel like there was not really any doubt for me that you would enjoy it. I'm
glad it didn't go full Disney and like erase the romance too. Like that's the whole point of this show, you know.
Yeah. Exactly.
Disney has been doing that lately. And it's like, why? Why you do that?
But yeah, no, I'm glad you enjoy. I kind of feel like you'd enjoy the manga too, or the comic too.
I probably would. Yeah. It's a
like,
graphic novel, Sam. You got to pronounce it right.
Graphic novels. Yeah, fucking Bryan Lee O'Malley. I mean, he did a great job. If you've never read his novel that came after that called Seconds, you should. I really love it. But yeah, dude, I'm glad you enjoyed it. That's really cool. I mean, as much as we can get out of you, obviously, right? Because we made you consume it all in one kind of.
Yeah,
one
and
go
I mean,
there.
to be fair, I could have used my time better, but still, like, I didn't watch it all in the same day. I watched it over 2 days, and I watched the movie the previous day, so like a 3-day period.
Sure.
So it's not that. I mean, for me, that's an improvement.
Sure.
So,
Sure. Yeah,
yeah.
that's cool. I appreciate that. I mean,
I finally figured out that Lucas was the guy that everybody was fan arting.
Yeah, they himbified him.
The himbo, yeah.
Really hard in the anime, which I was like,
oh, that's that guy.
Which I love it so much.
I just saw the memes. And I'm like, who's that guy? Oh, he's from this.
Yeah, dude, fucking
Kim Pine called.
I mean, Chris Evans is a himbo in real life, or not, maybe not real life, but in his characters.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Danny?
I was gonna say Chris Pine was all like, you dated big chested so
Yeah.
So like they actually said big chested.
And then Stacey Pilgrim at the end, she was like, it's fine. At least I get to look at his butt every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny. Yep.
Yeah, dude, freaking Nishigaki and Ishiyama, great character designers, and they also did some key-end for it too. So Shuhei Honda is one of my favorite key animators and character designers. And so what was really cool to see in the art of this is a lot of it was Dave. There was a lot of animators that did a lot of stuff for David Production and Trigger. So, Nishigaki, Honda, Ishiyama, they did a lot of the character design, and I'm glad they did them. They did Bryan Lee O'Malley's characters justice, but still put that anime style twist on them that would make it fit perfectly for the people over at Science Saru.
Yeah, with the mouth flaps. They have the anime mouth flaps.
And so for a long time, this is the thing, right? Okay, so, and I'll just say this. Number one, Abel Gongora, they directed, along with some of these other people I mentioned, they did TBO1 in Star Wars Vision. And that was probably my favorite short out of that one, aside from the other one that Shirahama did the character designs for. The Elder, was it? The fucking blind Sith crazy.
Yeah, that
Sith.
was cool. I want to rewatch some of those.
I think that was called The
what's the
Elder.
one that's coming out soon? There's a new Star Wars.
It's been out. It's been out. We just haven't.
What was it again? Oh my god!
It's just called Star Wars Visions 2, but it's there's only a few anime ones in there. The rest of them are other, the guy who does Wallace and Gromit and Chicken Run. He did one. Fucking Wallace and Gromit, dude. The wrong trousers. The Serta sheep. But fucking a lot of this David Production staff that worked on I don't even remember the top of my head, but and a lot of Trigger people, they did a lot of I think some of them even storyboarded. There's a different border for each episode. Moko-chan did the opening, which is they just worked on Yuri Deko, and I think they worked on Inu-Oh. A lot of staff here worked on Inu-Oh too, which is a very cool movie, I guess. I haven't seen it yet, but I heard it was amazing. So on top of that, for a long time, that was kind of the next step, right? This anime was the next step, if there was going to be, because Bryan himself, right? He did the comic, they did the movie, and then he did a recolored. He did a colored version with redrawn panels of the comic, and he kind of just wanted to continue his comic career, normally. And then he came out with Seconds. He did some art for another comic. Someone else wrote it. I think it's Snot Girl. I think it is what it is, which I haven't read yet. I heard it's really amazing. But I guess everyone kind of wanted this. I mean, they've been talking about doing an animated series of Scott Pilgrim for however fucking long, right? They were talking about it way back then, fucking 5-10 years ago. They're like, oh, we got to do an animated series, right? We got to do a fucking whole, that adapts the comics better or something, whatever, right? They did the animated short by Titmouse. If you guys don't know who Titmouse is, they do a lot of Adult Swim shows, things like that. Super Jail, Venture Brothers, Metalocalypse. But it's got to be an anime, right? They have to do an anime. And then here we finally get one, just out of nowhere. Here's a trailer for it. It's like, oh, fuck. Right? We got
I'm surprised they did the live action before the anime.
Kind of, right? Yeah, exactly. Because, I mean, the style of the manga, he's very heavily inspired by, Osamu Tezuka and a lot of the older anime style stuff. He really likes. He likes all that stuff. Otomo, Kazuhiro Otomo and all that. Those have always been his inspirations for doing the art in Scott Pilgrim. And as you're reading the comics, once you get to the later volumes, you can kind of see those influences take over a little more and more and more, which is really cool. It's kind of the art improves over time. It took him 6 years to do the whole series, obviously. But the next logical step was let's get an anime or an animated show. And I just am very happy, for me personally, very happy that he got to not only write the script, but get to have it be done at a Japanese studio that I think is really cool. And then that being said, having a lot of the staff worked on a lot of other stuff that like I can't imagine any other studio would be able to do it like how they did it here, in my personal opinion. And
Yeah.
not only that, I mean, I'm glad that, I mean, some of my favorite art directors and character designers did the key ends for this, and boarded it. So like, I was very excited, and I love Science Saru as well. Fucking, I love Azakin, and I love pretty much most Yuasa stuff. I love Abel Gongora. I love the way he did TBO1, and then how that was heavily inspired by Osamu Tezuka as well. So like, this kind of like came together very nicely visually because of that for me. And so I just think it was great. I mean, what Bryan Lee did with the story, because at this point he was sick of it already. He was kind of like, he was ready to move on, right? His novel Seconds that came out after Scott Pilgrim, I feel got heavily overshadowed by the Scott Pilgrim hype. Yeah, and I can see as an artist why that might suck, right? Obviously, like if it's like you write one song and it's like a one-hit wonder kind of thing. And I don't think he felt that Scott Pilgrim was a one-hit wonder. I just think he was kind of done with the story, right? Like obviously, at some point you got to be done with it. And then this time, when it took the turn at episode 2, and it was this whole other thing. For me, that was really cool. I was just like, he gets to tell a story again, but how he kind of wants to do it and on his terms, and Science Saru gets to animate it, and that's really cool. So anyways, I talked for a while. I think I'm just kind of saying that's my very long way of saying I enjoyed how it came together. Like I can't imagine like Doga Kobo or fucking A1 doing it. You know what I mean? Like fucking what's his fucking name? Like
Nappa.
like I guess like Yamashita, right? Shingo Yamashita. I can imagine him maybe doing some stuff. Yeah, fucking Mappa, dude. But like like Yamashita, I guess I could see him working with a Yamashita can do anything in my opinion. He's fucking amazing. But like there's other staff I can think of that I don't think would be able to do it like how I wanted to see it, and I wanted to see it like this. So I don't know. That's just me. I might be sucking a little bit too much dick, but that's what I'm here for. I like to suck dick. So shut up. Anyway,
try not to suck any on your way to the parking lot.
No, parking lot. I will say this: and like I said, I feel like if you fuck up the action in an anime, it kind of fucks up the whole show for me. And the thing with Scott Pilgrim,
One Punch Man season 2, man.
Yeah, come on, dude. You know what I mean? Like some of the fights in it were cool, but then it's like it just was not. It didn't live up to like how fucking Bones did. I don't know. There's fucking what's his name? Kamida. I think that's Kamida. Yoshi Kamida. He and I don't know, man. Anyways, I don't want to get into that. Nick is gonna make me go off. But like the action in it was fucking cool. I love the final fight. I love the whole idea that Scott pretty much. This is a big spoiler, so like I said, we're spoiling now. I love the idea that not only are we more fleshed out with all the other characters, we got to see an alternate timeline in this already alternate story that we're watching of Scott becoming like he technically became the 8th Evil X in a weird way, and how past Scott had to fight that, and it was just like it became this super meta thing, which is on purpose, right? Because Bryan Lee O'Malley is funny like that. It's like, wait, so you came to the past to pull me into the future to show me your past that would be my future that would be. And it was just like this big thing, and it was just really stupid.
Like Back to the Future.
Yeah. 88 miles per hour on my skates or whatever the fuck. But
luckily, Scott does not become his own grandpa.
Yeah, fucking a la Terminator.
Instead, he plays virtual guy.
Send myself back to the past to marry some chick, and her kid becomes a leader of the resistance. T-800 Skynet. Anyways, I've said enough. I don't know how to. That was probably my favorite part about it. The themes visually, I love it. I love all of it. I might be exaggerating too much. Maybe some people didn't like some of it. There's some choppiness in the middle of the show where I think it could have been done maybe more of aligned with how episode 1 and episode maybe 6 was handled. But I mean, you have you have Nishigaki doing episode 4, which like, the trailer fight is really cool because like, I don't know, it's like the Lucas and Ramona's like they're just like teaming up, and then he's skating throughout the whole entire. That was really fucking cool. That what Nick said. Nick liked that sequence too, right? He's skating throughout the whole Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and fucking yeah. I'm talking too much. Sorry, I'm gonna stop now. I don't know what else to say. Honestly, I think like I went off a little too long. I went off for almost 10 minutes. So
no, that was good because you guys know more than I do.
I talk too much. I always talk too much. My bad. Shut up.
That's cool. Well, we're not having an argument.
Honey Bear's supposed
we're
to
reviewing
stop
the
me,
show,
all right?
so
God damn it. Okay, sorry.
it only matters in the SmackDown, Sam.
You got 3 minutes. Okay,
Sam
Danny.
takes 2 minutes and 59 seconds.
Danny, you got 3 minutes. Tell me Ramona versus Kim Pine. Go.
Ramona versus Kim Pine. They never fight.
I know, but they're both hot. Anyways, who else got final thoughts? Rather, I guess before we score it. I'm trying.
Honestly, I really don't like. I watched it twice because also since I just so obsessed with the fucking music in this. I mean, Spotify doesn't have like both the actual like band songs that we're playing along with like the score. So like throughout today I have been creating a playlist that combines some of the songs and the score all together, so it's just all on one playlist for me so that I can just listen to it. And in the midst of me doing that, I'm obviously I'm watching it again. So I can't really find anything like negative to say. I mean, aside from the whole like they didn't have the vegan police, because Nick is right. Like the vegan police is the best thing.
9.5 out of 10.
Literally the best thing that happens in the movie. So I do love the little like, the freaking adult future Ramona Flowers having the rollerblades that are pretty much the DeLorean from Back to the Future. Like that was freaking hilarious how like she can, if she goes 88 miles per hour, like she can time travel. So that was just like, okay, that's fucking awesome. So and of course, like Sam said, the finale fight between future Scott becoming the 8th Evil X. Yeah, that's just awesome. And I enjoy this creative alternative story this is honestly what I think. Okay, I'm backtracking. This is what writers of like mediums that people want, like, oh, you should do this for that kind of thing. Like how we're getting all these remakes and stuff, you'll get some people who like want like a true adaptation to something, but then you have creators like like this, where they're tired of talking about or writing the same story over and over again. So instead of writing and creating the comic book, they Bryan Lee, he just made a little twist to the story, so it's not like completely a comic adaptation, it's like a little bit of a nudge to the adaptations, including the movie. So I think that was like a fantastic idea. And I believe that Bryan Lee is a genius for doing that.
Agree. To me, it's
Yep.
To me, it's similar like the Anno thing with Rebuild of Evangelion, and I won't get into that.
It's like, why try to fix something when it's not broken?
And
You don't need to remake the movie. That'd been done.
Yeah.
And maybe I hope I would like to think that he's happy with what he's done with what he's written here, because
Right.
and it's using characters and story he's already done, but like telling a new perspective and fleshing out characters that we fell in love with. Like a lot of people, whether they were villains the whole time or villains half the time in the comics or the movie, there were a lot of people who are fans of Scott Pilgrim who love Todd, who love Lucas Lee. They love Gideon. They love the way Jason Schwartzman portrayed Gideon. And if it were up to me, man, I don't know if I would change a thing either. I mean, it was if I want to see, if I want to see an awesome fucking samurai sword fight, I'll watch the movie. Okay, with Scott and Gideon doing the sword fight, the pixel swords. If I want to fight a super Final Fantasy god version of Gideon, the Gigadeon Graves, I'll go and play the game. I'll fight Gigadeon Graves at the end. If I want to see some otherworldly shit from a different perspective, I'll watch the anime. And then if I want to see a more deeper kind of closure kind of thing about how we need to face Nega Scott or Nega Sam, negative Danny, negative Nick Zaro, and how we need to kind of not be in the past all the time, I'll read the comic again. We got different versions of each medium of this one story, and that's kind of crazy. That's kind of, that's wild. Like, I'm not going to go and play a Sword Art Online video game. I don't want to do that. Like, I just want to watch the show. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care about that. I mean, this is a story, a set of characters that somebody wrote where there's 4 different mediums to enjoy it from, and I've enjoyed all of them. And that's just like, as has Danny, as has Nick, who's enjoyed 2 of the mediums so far. And it's just like I said in the beginning of this podcast, I don't even know if I have any friends who don't like it, whether they've just seen the movie, whether they've just played the game, whether they've read everything, whether, you know what I mean? I'm pretty much just repeating what Danny said, pretty much. But like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
It's awesome.
I kind of want to go watch the movie again.
I agree.
I haven't seen the movie in like a while, actually. I kind of want to watch the movie.
I watched the movie.
Sam is the forehead vein meme. Your face is beat right when you haven't watched Scott Pilgrim in over 20 minutes.
Yeah, over 20 minutes, yeah.
I watched the movie pretty recently. Maybe like 2 weeks ago before the anime came out. So, but I could watch the movie all day, every day. Like, it's so funny. I love it.
You can even put
This is what I don't get. You don't like Scott Pilgrim, and I don't know if you don't like Ramona, so you like every other character in the movie.
Yeah, it's kind of hard not to. like fucking.
Yeah, I think the other characters are the best characters.
Yeah.
Scott and Ramona are like the straight men.
They're like the straight and narrow. It's funny too because there's an alternate ending to the movie too, where he kind of lets Ramona go off, and then he goes with knives, and I kind of hate that ending. I think it's dumb. I think.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, and
it's not even the high schooler thing. It's just that like they're a better match.
Yeah, they made her really annoying in the movie. So like,
knives.
Yeah.
They overly exaggerated.
Yeah.
Everything, but I mean, to be fair, high schoolers are fucking annoying. So, am I wrong?
Am I wrong? I like her ending in the comic and in the anime a lot. Super cool. But anyways,
they fleshed out everybody, most of the characters better in the anime.
Yeah, yep. And actually, the anime,
which you don't need for the movie because movie's a different style. But anyway,
And actually, in the anime is has the only ending where Scott stays with Sex Bomb, because in the other mediums he doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, young Neil is the basis in the movie at the end, and then in the comic,
And he graduates to Neil.
yeah, instead of young Neil, he's just Neil.
Oh God. You'll
And
be
in the
known
anime-
as
Neil,
Neil.
young Neil, you're not young Neil anymore. You're just Neil.
And he's like, oh man. And in the anime, he's old young Neil. Written by old young Neil. Yeah, dude, they got meta with it in the anime. It's super funny. That's another great part of it. Anyways, hell yeah, dude. Let me know if you're a Scott Pilgrim fan. And also, before
Nick, do you have any final thoughts?
Oh yeah, Nick.
I've already said it all. I mean, I liked listening to you guys. You guys knew a lot more about it than I did. Yeah, great show. Everybody watch it. One of the better things to come out this year. I'll have to do a little list to see where it stands for me. I know, Danny, you said it was your favorite of the year for anime.
Because come January, we got to do our.
This is Danny's arcane moment.
This might be her arcane moment.
It's not on Mal, but it's your number one.
Yeah.
It's on Annie list.
I know. Mal just fucking sucks. All right. That's my final thought. Fuck Mal.
Fuck. Fuck plot. Fuck Mel.
Yeah. The main thing is they won't do the English titles. It's like, just make it fucking English. It's an English website.
See, it shows it for us. I don't know why it doesn't show it for you. I don't know. You're doing it wrong.
It doesn't work. Doesn't fucking work. It should be default, and it actually should just not exist. It should anyway. I like Scott Pilgrim.
Anyways,
favorite character. Oh,
yeah,
which X would everybody be?
Oh no.
Oh man, I'd probably be
Okay, which X would I be?
None.
Nick would be Todd. Nick would be Gideon.
Oh God.
No, he
Yes.
wouldn't.
I'm the most
He's plotting.
gaslighting.
He's plotting. He's gaslighting.
Evil Rondo.
He's fucking memeing his way to the top.
I'm a short king. Yeah.
Gordon Goose. Nick is Gordon Goose. I'd probably be one of the, I don't know, probably a little Roxy, thinking I'm a ninja when I'm not really a ninja. Although I can do ninja things. Or one of the twins. Because I'm into music, even though I don't really do music anymore. But I mean, I love the Katsunagi twins just because they're like robotics engineers and they're also musicians. I don't know. Danny would probably be Roxy, or Danny would be Lucas Lee, just himbo skateboarder.
Danny has that himbo skateboarder energy.
She does.
I don't think so.
Not gonna lie, but like I do sometimes. I would say depending on like the relationship and how the breakup went. I am the type of person that doesn't really hold a grudge. So
Sure.
Would that make you Lucas then? Still?
Yeah, I would say
Okay.
I would be Lucas, because Lucas doesn't
I
give
would
a
hold-
shit.
I wouldn't hold a grudge. I don't know.
But again,
man.
like depending on like what because there are some of my exes, they're yeah, they can just rot in hell. It's fine.
You heard that first. Danny's exes go to hell. Turn off this podcast. We don't want you to listen.
Danny
Some of
has
them,
done
some of
nothing
them.
wrong ever.
Yeah.
Danny is the breaker. Danny's the breaker. She's the one who knocks.
She's the one who knocks, dude.
Actually, no, scratch that. I'm the one who knocks because I'm
no,
not.
I was dumped quite a lot.
All right. Danny, we
So-
don't want your whole life
Anyway,
story here, okay?
You were
Yeah,
the one
God.
who asked.
Oh, we forgot to score it too, by the way. But yeah, go ahead. We got to score it.
I did want to ask, because Nick shared a podcast episode. I can't remember
Oh, the mint? The mint one?
the Ringers,
Those two are cool.
but
Those
it's
are
like
cool.
the mint
yeah.
the mint edition. They asked at the end, like,
That's why I asked that question.
would
I
there
copied them.
well they also asked would any of would your exes like form a league kind of thing?
Oh God.
Oh no.
No, because
Would they band together?
when you're
No,
done with
'cause-
Nick, you're done.
because and I don't want to get too personal here, but like number one, I'm not.
Yeah.
Number one, I'm friends.
Number one, they're all dead. Sam killed them.
Number one, I'm cool. I'm cool with all my exes right now. So, I mean, we're chill. There's probably like one of them or two of them that I don't talk to anymore. Just because we just don't, or they moved away or something. But the exes I do talk to, I mean, one of them is like they talk to Trisha more than me lately. So like, fucking, take that for however you want it. But like, they would not. No, they would not.
My story would be that they would do the Mad Men meme, and they'd be like, "I don't think about you at all." There would be no league. There'd be no league.
They'd be like, "What? There's no league, dude."
I'm less than dirt.
Yeah, no,
Spit on me.
I am definitely
I'm just
not
kidding.
worth. I am not worth enough for my exes to be like, let's start a league and do all that shit. I'm definitely not. Yeah. Maybe Danny's exes. I don't know any of them, but maybe they would. Like, would
They
yours?
definitely probably talk shit about me, maybe.
Yeah, I would assume that's at the very most they'd talk a little shit about me, like, oh yeah, back when Sam was a bitch, she was a huge bitch, and I'd be like, the me now would be like, shut up, and then I would back away and go, yeah, I kind of was. I really was, honestly. But yeah, no, I'm not worth that. No evil exes for me, which is fine. I don't want to deal with that anyway, even if that was the case. But no.
No, I think most people just cut ties.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it's just a hassle.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
holy shit.
It's
Not a sitcom.
I personally still love, some of my exes, the ones I talk to, especially. I still love them a lot. So I'm cool. I'm cool with them, so thankfully, if there was going to be a league, it wouldn't happen because I'm cool with them now. So, but yeah, other than that, I'm probably not worth it. Probably not. Now,
L'Oreal,
if you're asking if
worth
I
it.
would start a league for any of them, I would for Trisha. If we broke up, I would start a league for Trisha. I would absolutely do that. I would be getting graves for Trisha. Absolutely would.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Got
hell
a
yeah.
gaslight her back into your arms.
Gaslighter back. Yeah, gaslight. Let's score it, dude. Let's fucking score. We forgot to score it. I give it. Honestly, dude, I'm not gonna give it a perfect 10 just because of nitpicky things, which I didn't really talk about because I don't really care about them too much. The vegan police thing, maybe I would have loved to see more other comic-y things in it, maybe that were not in it, I suppose, but they wouldn't need to be. You know what? 9.5 Katyanagi robots. I would say 9. No, you know what? 9. 9's a good, solid number. 9 Katyanagi robots out of 10. The Robot 01, I think that's what it's called.
I'm going to give it 8. 8 untied shoes out of 10 because I don't have the connection that you guys do. But I'm sure if I stayed with it, I'd probably bump it up.
Nah, that scene was funny. Yeah, in the movie, he's like powering up and getting ready and suiting up, and the shoe, they tie the shoe thing. It's like this long
Just
sequence.
slowly ties it.
I'm glad they threw that in the anime because it's just stupid. It's funny. Yeah, dude. Okay, that's pretty good. Oh, that's pretty good. Danny?
10 ninja paparazzis.
10 ninja razzies.
Yep. I'm giving it the 10. I don't care.
Man, you know what? I don't know. Danny might be right though.
I'm giving it a 10. I don't care.
No, Sam, your word is binding. You're not allowed to change it.
I might change it.
Nope. Too
It
late.
was just everything. The
GG.
music.
Danny wins.
Danny wins, dude. She won already. God damn it. Let us know what you guys think. Watch Scott Pilgrim. If you're a Scott Pilgrim fan, I think you'll love the anime. I think you'll love the way it's executed, love the way it's done. And, actually, and I'll keep it at a 9. Just because it somewhat requires like,
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
yeah, it's someone requires you to have seen at least one of the movie or read the comics, which kind of sucks because you know, if you watch it as its own thing, you may not understand quite a bit of it. So like, I don't know, yeah, not quite a bit, but like enough to be like, well, what is this part? Then you'll have to go and look it up and whatever. So that being said, let us know what you think of it. Okay, let us know what you think of Scott Pilgrim in general too. Like if you love Scott Pilgrim, hell yeah. And if you want to see me and Danny play some Scott Pilgrim, I think it's on Steam now too. I have it on the Switch. I don't know, Dan, what do you have it on?
I have it on the Switch.
Oh, okay, so we can play on the Switch. Okay, well, yeah, we'll do that. My Scott is like level 50 million already, so like I've unlocked pretty much like the secret technique with all of them. So you know I can just mosey on through there. Put it on hard mode. Fuck it. Put it on hard mode, G. We should play with Kai too, because I think Kai likes the Scott Pilgrim game, doesn't he? He's a beat 'em up.
I think so. He definitely likes the beat 'em up games.
He's a beat 'em up G like me, so like we know, dude. We know what it's about. Okay. That being said, let us know what you guys think. I've been Sam. That's been Nick. That's been Danny, and we've been the Anime Summit podcast. This is the world, the universe. Anime Summit's finest hour. Precious little life.